Hey guys, this is Calamity Code with Gamers Among Us. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast, Grain of Sand, where we're going to be talking about all kinds of video game news, information, stories, and pretty much whatever we like to talk about. If you like what you hear, and we hope you do, please feel free to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/gamersamongus, or you can find us on Twitter at gamersamong. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Alright guys, welcome to Gamers Among Us. This is our first podcast. Are we going with grains of sand for this one? Grain of sand. Yeah. Gamers Among Us, we're a group of friends that came to find that we had similar interest in games. I think it started with the most unfortunate of games, Fortnite.
Yeah.
Not that that's the first game we started playing, it's the first that we started playing together a lot. And we just realized that we all had kind of the same passion for games, and we all kind of jumped into it. And even though we all came from different backgrounds, and we all have unique looks on games. For example, I am more PC gaming and grown up with that, whereas Trick and Calamity both have more experience with console than I have. So, but essentially, we've all watched those podcasts. We've all watched YouTube videos where it's just like a general review, but we wanted to kind of take our own take on it, where we include everyone in the picture, that we're all, that's the title of, you know, who we are, Gamers Among Us. There's a gamer out there, and they are among us. Kind of like, I don't want to say like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but kind of makes me think of that. Like, you think that someone is, I don't know, all the connotations kind of seem weird. Like, oh, you think this person's just a normal dude. But no, he likes to play World of Warcraft at night. You know, and that kind of constitutes the Gamers Among Us theme, which is, it doesn't matter if you're a PC player, console player, mobile phone, any device really. As long as you're on a device playing a video game, we consider you a gamer. And we just want to include everyone into that kind of circle, and that's why we wanted to start this little group and this podcast. Mainly just to provide our perspective of what's going on in culture, new games that are coming out, and all that kind of stuff. So anyone else want to take the floor?
I think you pretty much covered it.
Yeah. We can start with the introductions then, for each person, since I kind of gave like a introduction for the group. I don't know if that's really good, but if you guys want to put any input.
No, I mean, that works.
This is a Calamity Code talking, by the way.
We're really just wanting to start a website / gaming community / YouTube channel / Twitch channel / everything, and just have lots of stuff out there for everybody.
Yeah, I definitely, like I was saying, when you look out there, there's obviously the big companies like IGN, PC Gamer, what is it, Gamecast? I think is what it's called. Or
GameSpot.
Yeah, GameSpot. Like, they have their own little, like, sector, and they're more a picture of the big guy. And this is kind of probably going to lead into later when I start talking about myself, but kind of how, I guess, we kind of had the perspective of, like, smaller indie game. You know, we're the little guy, but we want to make it big, but we still want to keep it for the little guy, I guess is what I want to say.
Yeah.
So that being said, if any of the viewers or listeners have any content that they would like for us to go over in future podcasts, we would definitely appreciate the feedback.
Yeah. Whatever device we put this podcast on, I guess with that was Trick talking. Essentially, leave a comment, you know, below. So that way when we're like discussing topics for other podcasts or whatnot, it would definitely help us to, instead of like running on tangents and going off, which I know we're going to do anyways, so be prepared for that. But yeah, just leave a comment below to help us, like, you know, I want to see Kingdom Hearts 3 Spotlight. We already have one for you. And we're going to have many more.
It's one of the few things we do have right now.
Yeah, It's we're starting out slow, but we're gonna make it there. We plan to get pretty big. But I mean, like I said, it's not all about getting big. It's about expressing our love for games and kind of just showing that love to everyone else. So, who wants to start on the introduction? I guess I could go.
Go for it. You've been talking this whole time anyway.
Well, that's normal. All right. Well, welcome to Gamers Among Us, guys. This is the Still Grizzly talking. I don't know if I said my name already. You can also call me John, but for the sake of internet security, that's probably all I should say. I've played games since I was a little kid, and I'm in my 30s, so that's a long time. One of my earliest memories of gaming is probably playing, I think it was like Three Stooges and Mario and like all the really old games on the Super Nintendo. And I really enjoyed playing those kind of games. And my parents, I kind of come back from a conservative background, so I never was allowed to have a console device in the home. So this is why I am more a PC gamer, because we had a PC. And I would play games like the original Caesar, Civilization, like the old DOS games that a lot of people enjoy playing. So I played those games. One of my favorite DOS games, I guess, would be the High Sea Trader, which is, if you haven't ever checked it out, I don't think it stood up to the test of time, but it was a good game back in the day. And one of my favorite games that I think about was Command and Conquer. It was a good game. It came out back in the 90s, and that kind of developed my love for real-time strategy. And it showed me, I guess, like a whole new world, which kind of opened up to RPG, or the role-playing games, where I was just like, oh, wait, so I can go, I guess Skyrim's a good example. I could go do the main quest, or I could go get a dog that talks to me, or I could like, let's go look in this dungeon and then somehow end up in a city halfway across the map. Like, I think a lot of people are down on games because they don't understand it, but those people, I don't know, it's just like being able to live and do stuff that you never thought you could do. And that kind of brought me into the world of gaming, because I enjoy just like focusing on that kind of stuff. And to center it back, right now I do stream, so if you guys want to check out my Twitch and everything there. So I think each one of us, we're going to start getting more into the streaming, so that way we can each kind of provide our own perspective and content and just kind of grow together, which is another topic itself. But right now I'm playing games. Originally I started playing Fortnite and Ring of Elysium and Black Ops 4 just to like interact with my friends and hang out. And because of that, that's one of the original reasons why I started streaming, is because we just wanted to show like our love of just like playing together and joking around. And then we started having like these big topics and these crazy discussions. They were like, well, what if we shared that with other people? And I started streaming, and then we're like, well, we all want to get into it in our own way. And we're like, well, let's just make this Gamers Among Us. And then that sort of, boom, now we're here kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's about everything for me. It's just, I guess I have a past with gaming that I just want to keep. I want to keep it going. I want to be that old dude that you see on Twitch that's like, hey, I've got, I'm going to get this diamond thing and be Link and breaking vases over here and stuff. And I don't know.
You've seen that gamer grandma that plays Skyrim?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be like,
and she's always like, oh no, oh, that's a spider web. I better
look
run
at these
around.
pretty flowers.
Oh, I'm going to pick those. Yeah. That's essentially, I don't know. I just hope, in my mind, I don't want to like end gaming. So that's why I started the streaming, and also why we started this group is because I think we're all kind of in the same mind where we just really enjoy it. So, who wants to go next?
I guess I can go next.
Okay.
So this is Trick Enigma, also Dagmar, or Corey, depending on who you know.
Dagmar.
my gamer tag, I was about 15 or 16, and I took a break from gaming and actually worked with a gaming company out of Germany. And one of the girls was nicknamed Treat, and as a joke, I was Trick. So Trick or Treat. And then shortly after I quit working with them, I got my first Xbox 360 and the first actual gamer tag. So at the time I was trying to impress my girlfriend and was like, ooh, what sounds mysterious? Trick Enigma. And here we are. As far as gaming, my background's, like Steele said, it's pretty console dominant. My first memories were playing Zelda at my great-grandma's house on her Super Nintendo, because that was as close to breaking outside the box you could get in her conservative household. And then playing the Genesis, that stupid 7-Up game with the crab on the beach. But I was a pretty spoiled kid, so I got one of the first Nintendo 64s and played Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario, all of those games religiously, and then got a PlayStation 1 about a year after it came out. Little Game Boys, handhelds, pretty much any console that has come out. I have played it at least a solid year into it. My favorite games, I'd probably have to say my all-time favorite would be Dragon Age, just because, first of all, it was the first game with an expansion that I can remember, and I remember spending, years playing it, and the whole time my dad would just sit there and be like, well, what is that? Why are you killing that thing? What kind of monster is that? And I'm like, Dad, I'm this knight, and this is my mission. And he'd be like, oh, okay. So how are you going to kill it? And just explaining in depth. And this man had, little imagination, but he would sit there and immerse himself in this world with me. And that's kind of what I feel like games are. It's just a form of escapism, like Grizz said, We all live these average Joe lives. We go to work 8 hours, and then we come home and we'll watch TV, and you'll kind of immerse yourself into that world. But with video gaming, you actually are that person. You're the Dovahkiin, or you're a mage, or you're a fairy, and you're a race car driver. You can be whatever you want to be, and it's just pretty. I think it's really relaxing and pretty awesome. You can't go to these places around the world in real life, but for $60 you can go buy a game and for 40 or 50 hours or even longer immerse yourself into it. As far as current games, like Grizz said, we've been playing Fortnite quite a bit. I started streaming Spyro, and I really need to get back into it, because that is also one of my all-time favorites. I'll probably play Kingdom Hearts when it comes out, but I do want to get back into Red Dead 2, so if anybody wants to watch that, you're welcome to check out my stream. And I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Who wants to go next?
Should we let Will jump in since he hasn't said much?
I feel like we should. Will jump in?
Is Will willing to?
So ever since I was young, my siblings and I would watch my dad play Final Fantasy X, and we weren't allowed to play it because we were little and not teenagers. But we always had such a good time watching him play it that it made us want to get into video games ourselves. So we ended up picking up games like not StarCraft, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, like a lot of the collectathons. We picked up some racing games, sports games, Gran Turismo, Tiger Woods Golf, PGA Tour 2006 or something like that. I don't know why I remember that game so much. I just do for some reason. It was one of the big games I played when I was younger. I don't know, ever since then, gaming has just kind of been my natural state of being. Like, if I'm not outside doing something, if I'm not doing something for someone else, then guess what? I'm probably gaming. And so recently I started streaming on Twitch because I said to myself, well, if I'm going to be playing video games anyways, I may as well try and talk to people while I'm doing it. And that was where I met these people. And when they asked me to be part of this podcast, I had been having such a good time talking to them, hanging out with them, and getting to know them that there was no way I could say no. I mean, like I said, we already talk about video games anyways, so why not talk about video games with them and to the listeners, Right now, the games I've been playing are Warframe. I've had a Darkest Dungeon run going for a while. I just tried out that game Kenshi that came out a while ago. It's not really for me, but I gave it the old college try. My favorite games of all time are probably Ori and the Blind Forest, Dishonored. Sadly, I have yet to beat the second one because I'm doing a no kill, no detection, no power run for my first time through on the hardest difficulty. So that's been a bit of a struggle ever since the game came out. But Other than that, another game I always find myself going back to is Osu, which is a lesser known rhythm game made by a guy in Australia. But yeah, if you want to find me on Twitch, you can find me at twitch.tv/Wilucco, WILUCCO. Thanks.
Essentially, we found Will on Twitch, and through me streaming, this is still Grizzly again, sorry. I don't know if our voices sound enough different, but we'll see after we do the podcast and listen to it over, I guess. But anyways, I was going to say, actually, Will found me while I was streaming, and then I hopped into his stream, and then we just kind of started hanging out more often, and now it's like kind of hang out in each other's streams and just chat. And we've kind of gotten to know each other and then connect, which is, I guess for me, which is really an awesome thing that I didn't really consider about Twitch, because when we all start streaming, there's that perspective of, well, I'm going to get like Ninja. I'm going to get tons of money, tons of viewers, overnight success. I'm going to be affiliated with all this money. What a lot of people don't realize, it's streaming for your friends. And then not only do you have your normal close friends that you have, but then you start getting friends in Europe. You start getting friends all over America. You know, you just get friends. I mean, I have people in Australia that watch me because I stream kind of later. And it's just a little bit weird that, I guess, you know, there's a misconception that technology kind of takes away from things. But then we have this streaming, and it's connecting people all over the globe in different time zones and different areas. I think that's really cool. And then those people in your stream, Will, that kind of hop into mine sometimes that are from like Germany and France. And then I have a bunch of friends in Britain now that like I never even would have like met if it wasn't for streaming. So, Calamity, you want to throw in a piece about yourself?
Alright, my name is Calamity Code. You can call me Code, you can call me Calamity, or you can just call me Mark. I don't stream or anything just yet, but I hope to in the future. Don't really have good internet right now. Plus, all I have is a PS4. I don't have a computer. But hoping to get one eventually once I have a better place to live and stuff. But just like them, I've been gaming pretty much my whole life. I don't remember it because I was so young, but we had a Super Nintendo when I was a little kid, and Super Mario Brothers and just the basic games. But the one I do remember was a Sega Genesis, which was my first real console that I had in my room and everything. I probably played Disney games and Barney on it, but it was still my first real experience with games, and it was what really made me love it. I think it was Sonic was the first game that I like wanted to play every day, and I would come home and just want to run to the TV and play that. And then the Nintendo 64 came out, and I got, what was it, Super Mario 64, I think was my first one. And that was just like 3D games, I guess, changed everything for me. It wasn't just a digital, like, representation on the screen anymore. It was actually running around in this recreated world and killing cool things. And just from then on, I was a gamer. It was all I did. I ran around outside, but all I wanted to do was go home and play video games. From Super Smash Brothers with my friends to Tomb Raider by myself, just things like that I would immerse myself in for hours on end. One of my favorite games of all time, and this is probably a pretty common answer, is The Last of Us for the PS3. It's one of those games where you just lose yourself in, and once you've spent all those hours playing it and you get to the end of it and you're done, you start to remember that it's not real life and that everything that just happened wasn't real, and it's kind of a shock. Definitely one of my favorite experiences ever, and that's kind of why I like games. It's because you can read a book, you can watch a movie, but I feel like when you play a game, you're more invested in it because you are the character. You are the person making all these choices in a way. So it really feels like it touches home more than a movie or a book does. Not that I don't like movies or books, but game is always going to be, the media that I jump to. As for what I'm playing right now, I was playing Fortnite with them for a little while, but we've kind of fallen off that bandwagon. Oh no, what happened?
For me, I think, Fortnite is good, but there's a huge gap between really good players and just kind of like I said before, you know, like when we started streaming, it was just so we could share like our fun experiences. And like Fortnite is just, for me, a chance to like hang out with you guys and chat and talk about work and then just get to know you guys more and just kind of have fun. So, I mean, we don't really have a lot of wins.
Yeah,
and
we're not that good.
There's other people who play Fortnite and it's just like, I guess the term that a lot of people say is they're sweaty. And they're just, you know, they're over here like they're grinding really hard to get super good at the game. So there's this huge
skill gap.
Yeah, like there's a difference where like I'm over here like just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm good at aiming, but building, man, I'm not good at. And I think what happened for us is, you know, Christmas came up and we all kind of had stuff we did with our families and we just kind of were doing our own things for a while.
To put it into perspective, I played a match this morning with my brother and got scoped from a mountainside while I was inside of a house. Me as a player would never think to shoot somebody through a window of a 2-story building on a mountain halfway across the map. So.
Yeah. And that's what it was. Like, it was really only fun to us because we were playing together. It's not something I ever liked playing by myself except to get the challenges done.
I mean, I still enjoy the game. It's just... It kind of sucks when you're just flying along and someone's on a plane, they jump off the plane, no scope you, and then like get back on the plane, and you're like, well, okay, I guess I'll start over again. You know, like
when we play against people like Will.
Hey man. Oh yeah. I haven't been good at Fortnite since like season 2 or 3, but I'm right there with you. It seems like as the seasons have gone longer and longer, people have been getting better and better, and I can't really keep up if I don't play it 12 hours a day. Plus, it's kind of hard to build up a stream in that game, so that's kind of the reason I've stayed away from it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, if you notice a lot of the pro streamers who've gotten those, I got 30 kills, 40 kills in a match, you notice when you watch it, it's all from like season 1 and season 2, because like people now, like they're almost as good as professional players. There are people out there that are better professional players, but they don't stream, they just play the game.
Yeah, what was it, that video where they were watching a Russian guy play, and he was just like, within 3 seconds, he had a 5-story tall.
Yeah, he built like like the Papa Fortress thing. He did that almost as fast as that thing pops up.
Yeah, and it was just there's just people out there that don't do anything else except play it.
With a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
Who plays video games?
So that's kind of a long explanation of why I don't really play Fortnite anymore, but. I don't really have a whole lot of time to play games nowadays. I'm working on the GAU stuff and working full-time, and I have a daughter and a wife that I like to spend time with. So when I do play games, it's usually Call of Duty, Black Ops 4. Not that I love it, but it's, you know, I can jump in and play a quick 10, 15-minute game and jump out. So
yeah, that's one reason why I like Ring of Elysium is I can kind of jump in and jump out. And I guess that's why people like Fortnite or Call of Duties or any game where you have that option. I guess a lot of sports games have that too.
Yeah.
Where you can just hop in, play a 20-minute match, and hop out and go on about your way.
Yeah, and I've always been like a single-player gamer. I like The Last of Us. Like, I like those single-player experiences. But now that I'm older and I have other things, it's really easier for me to play those quick games that are just, you know, jump in, jump out. So,
yeah.
Like, I have Red Dead 2, and I installed it, but I haven't loaded it up yet because I just don't have the time to play something like that.
That was the longest part of that game, is just waiting on that 100 gig installation.
2 discs, oh my god.
I haven't seen a 2-disc game in years now.
Yeah,
that's when I knew it was going to take a very long time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Sorry, Will, I know that's not out on PC yet.
I mean...
Or is it?
I've got other stuff on PC I can play, it's okay. I can play Fortnite.
Like off that subject, it kind of makes me think of like how there are a lot of like big AAA games, but they really have to capture your attention. And I guess that kind of brings us to our first game that we're going to talk about here. And it's like captured the attention of a lot of people, you know, in the past, and it's talked to about them. Like, you know, everyone's like, oh, I love this melding of worlds. And I guess it's we're going to be talking about Kingdom Hearts 3, I guess, is our first game that we'd like to look at here. We did do a kind of spotlight on it, but it's kind of just explaining, I guess, what you already know, giving a little footage on the game, I'll let them talk about it because I've only played the first Kingdom Hearts. I know. I'm sorry. I haven't really played any of the other ones. I have the most recent multi-disc pack.
Remix one.
Yeah, it has all of them in it, and I need to sit down and play that. But I'll let you guys talk about Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'll interject when I feel.
Well, the easiest way to sum up Kingdom Hearts as a whole in one sentence would be Disney meets Square Enix. It's essentially Final Fantasy on a Disney scale. It's supposed to release on January 25th, so look forward to that in the next, 2 weeks? Not even?
Yeah, it's really close.
It's the first Kingdom Hearts game that will actually be available on the PS4 and Xbox One, so everybody will get the chance to check it out and immerse themselves in that world. It's the 12th installment in the Kingdom Hearts series and the direct sequel to Kingdom Hearts 2 and the final chapter in the Dark Seeker saga. I'll let Calamity kind of gloss over the finer details.
So it's something we've been waiting on for a long time. Will, did you ever play any of the Kingdom Hearts games? Just curious.
Yeah, I did. Kingdom Hearts 1 was one of the earlier games I played in my childhood. But after Kingdom Hearts 1, there was like a several year gap between 1 and 2. And so I kind of lost interest in the story.
Yeah.
But my brother and my sister have both been following it almost religiously from then all the way up to now. And my brother has spent hours on the mobile game that they released for Kingdom Hearts 3. So he can get a Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts 3 when it actually comes out.
I didn't even know there was
So how long do you have to actually play the game before you get the Keyblade?
I think he said he had it in like 3 to 6 hours or something like that.
Okay, so not too bad.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know they had that.
They're over here like already downloading it. No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
Yeah, so I played Kingdom Hearts 1. I was super excited about it as a kid. I don't know why. I wasn't even like a huge Disney fan or anything, but I liked Final Fantasy and all the Disney characters were recognizable. So as a kid, you're like, oh, cool. I can, fight monsters with Donald and Goofy. Like, how cool is that? And so I loved the first one. The second one, I don't know. The story got a little bit convoluted for me with the like Organization 13 and everything. But I was looking forward to the third one. And that was over 10 years ago was the second one. And we've been waiting for it for all this time. So I'm pretty excited just to try it out and get back into it because I'm interested to see what they were working on for 10 plus years. But I know there's been a lot of like studio changes and copyright issues. And I think that's part of the reason it took so long. Do you know?
Probably. Part of me is kind of glad for the wait because it gives them a chance to use newer graphics. Because, the first two games were pretty legit, but seeing the spotlight that we did on it put it into a whole new perspective for me. And I think that's a problem a lot of people have is how long they've waited. Like, there's a whole new generation of gamers out now that don't even know what these games are because they never played on PlayStation 2s or anything older than that. So to kind of put it in perspective for them, we did write a brief little summary. Kingdom Hearts 3 tells the story of power as friendship as Sora and his friends embark on a perilous adventure. Set in a vast array of Disney and now Pixar worlds, Kingdom Hearts follows the journey of Sora, Donald, and Goofy to stop an evil force known as the Heartless from invading and overtaking the universe. Through the power of friendship, Sora, Donald, and Goofy unite with iconic Disney and Pixar characters, old and new, to overcome tremendous changes and preserve against the darkness threatening their worlds. Now, as Grizz did mention in his podcast, we now also have Marvel and Lucasfilms to add into the mix, and I'm kind of curious to see if they even bother to touch on those, and if they do, in what perspective.
I should have looked it up before we started, but I think I read that there will be Star Wars in it in some way, but I don't think there's going to be any Marvel stuff, because that was pretty recent.
Yeah.
I think there is at least Wreck-It Ralph. I saw him in
Yeah, there's definitely...
it looks like they're relying really heavy on the Pixar edition.
Yeah.
But that was old enough that they've had enough time to really
so
see how to add that in.
Toy Story and Monsters, Inc. and Wreck-It Ralph.
I actually heard one of the developers or the executives behind Kingdom Hearts 3 said that if they couldn't get a Pixar world into Kingdom Hearts 3, they weren't going to make the game.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do with Pixar.
So do you guys project that it's going to cause people to want to play the game because, is the following still really good? Or, it's been a long time, so...
Yeah.
If Half-Life 3 were to come out next 2 weeks, I don't know if I'd want to play it because I mean it's been so long since Half-Life 2 came out. Like, I feel like a lot of these big game companies, they do have, like you said, their mergers and they got bought out or they got moved over to another company, and it does stall games. Whereas the people, they just want to play it.
I feel like for a summary on this one, if any company was capable of convincing people to rejoin a series after over 10 years, it would be Disney or Square Enix.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like even if people don't bother to go back and play the previous games, they can probably jump into this one and have enough of a summary that they can play it without getting too confused. So, I feel like they're still going to come out with top-notch numbers, probably at least close to what they were expecting, if not more so.
Yeah, and I mean, Final Fantasy and Disney have been around for such a long time that...
They'll outlive all of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, they will.
It's not like, you know...
The future is just going to be Disney, Google, and
Amazon.
Like 2 other companies.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to be like, there's not even going to be politics anymore. They're just going to... Food is just going to be like a giant sign that says food at stores.
Yeah.
Food cube.
Food cubes.
Food cubes.
There's people. You're eating people.
Kenshi, what up?
We did kind of stick to Kingdom Hearts 3 a little too much, which kind of makes sense as we're going into this next game with hardly any information. I'll let Will kind of summarize this one, but we're moving on to Death Stranding now. Will, what do you think?
Oh, I haven't actually heard of that one. I didn't realize I was going to be the one mentioning it.
That's
the point. That is exactly.
It's kind of funny.
Give me 2 seconds. Let's have a look. Summarize.
It's kind of funny because one of our tags is from the internet. What is this about?
Yeah.
And it's just
From what we've seen, it looks like alien, like invisible aliens and baby fetuses.
So it's
It's a-
Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
And he's carrying a fetus in his stomach or something.
Wait, Norman Reedus is a lady?
No, he's a guy.
No,
Yeah.
it's like a tank. He's like carrying like a tank that has a baby
He's like
in
a
it.
post-apocalyptic mailman.
And
Oh.
there's invisible aliens that like they can't see you but they can hear you, so everybody has to be quiet. I don't know. Like that's really all we know about
that's
it.
pretty much all we know about it. It's
So the one thing that I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and the one thing that makes it stand out to me is that Hideo Kojima is the one who's directing it, and he's done so many things.
Yeah, that's kind of the big draw to it, is because he did Metal Gear Solid, so everyone's like, oh my god, he's doing this game, it's got to be good. But I'm feeling like he had his own creative liberty and he may have gone a little overboard, at least in my opinion.
I mean, even with, honestly, for me, even with the Metal Gear series, it was like, it's a little bit over the top. I don't really get the type of comedy that was in those games.
Yeah.
It's really just weird and...
And the later series, like the first one, I played that one and it was really, really good. But then like the newer ones, it's become more of like kind of gameplay with a little bit, like with mainly movie.
Yeah.
There's so many cutscenes.
Yeah, some of them are like 90 minutes long.
Yeah.
Yeah. He reminds me of M. Night Shyamalan, where it's just like, look at me, look how crazy I am, look what I made, and it's just like, okay, we get it. It's a weird game with a bunch of weird things in it, but is it actually going to be fun to play? I don't know.
I mean, essentially right now with Death Stranding, we don't know what it's about. The whole internet, everyone's essentially, I said essentially already, everyone's just trying to figure out what is this game, and I'm just going to stick to my guns. He's a mailman, and you just run around trying to carry a baby to another location that somehow, like, cures the planet.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be like, that baby is the key to preserving the human race or something, so he has to protect it at all costs. I mean, you can kind of tell.
But what if he's carrying something else and the baby is able to sense those invisible things, and that's why they have the babies? Sounds
So it
super
could be
morbid, but
could be
what
like a
if,
bird box thing.
Yeah.
Where the
Oh,
baby is the
what if they
box of
created the bird
birds.
box before the bird box was, around?
What if he just hates the world and the baby is the key to destroying the world? And he's just trying to, like, literally break the earth. Because life already looks pretty rough there.
I would gladly invest $70 into a game like that.
Yeah. So you're thinking like Kojima now.
Like what you were saying, Grizzly, about the plot. Or no, Calamity, you were saying that. About the plot, but backwards.
The reverse plot.
Baby isn't the key to saving everyone. It's the key to killing everyone.
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
Next one we have on our handy-dandy little list is Ghost of Tsushima, which I am personally extremely excited about because I've always liked the feudal Japan kind of setting, and there's not a whole lot of games nowadays that really fit it and let you run around in an open world in it and kill ninjas and assassins and whatever. So they have Sekiro coming out, I think either this month or next month, which is a different game by From Software. And that one's kind of the same, but it's made by the people that made Dark Souls, so it's way more Dark Souls-y. And they had a game like that called Neo, which I liked, but I didn't love just because I don't like those really hard games. But anyway, so Ghost of Tsushima is going to be a lot more like the open world games we play now, where it's not about being difficult, it's not about being relentless, it's just fun open world. You're a samurai warrior, and you're just killing other samurais and everything, and I just like everything about that. Sounds awesome to me, so I'm really excited about that. And it's from Sucker Punch, who made one of my favorite series, which is Infamous, which is the open world superhero game.
I was trying to remember who that was.
And that's another reason I think that's the main one that they're known for. But yeah, because of that, I'm just really excited about it.
So I always get confused because what was it, Sekiro?
Sekiro,
yeah. Sekiro and this game, I was like, oh, this is this game. Oh, wait, no, this is this game.
Yeah.
And like Sekiro, I guess, is more
Dark Souls?
Yeah, Dark Souls. It's more Dark Souls-ish.
Yeah.
Whereas this one seems more open world, your samurai kind of thing.
Yeah, this one's more an open world adventure, whereas Sekiro's going to be like a level by level boss
Fighting
challenge
crazy
after boss
bosses,
challenge. Yeah. So this is way more up my alley.
Yeah, I was going to say that I'm more excited about this. Not to knock anyone that really is a Dark Souls fan, because there's definitely a huge following for that. And I mean, I guess once it gets closer, we could definitely look into Sekiro.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we'll see. I don't know too much about Sekiro just because it's from that company and I haven't really kept up with it. I mean, I did like Bloodborne, but I didn't play it a whole lot. My wife likes it a lot.
Yeah.
I just read something, I think it was actually about Sekiro, and if it was, I believe that they stated they were going to reduce the difficulty because so many people were disinterested in it because, like you said, they've already had a game essentially like it come out. So I think they were going to make it more for the average gamer. So we'll definitely have to wait and see.
Yeah. But I mean, if you compare the trailers between the two, Ghost of Tsushima just looks
I'm
cooler.
definitely way more invested in Ghost.
Yeah, so I'm more excited about that one either way. But
yeah, the next game we're going to talk about is a game that I'm personally excited about, and I can't wait for it to come out. That's Days Gone, and it actually has a release date now. It's been kind of pushed back, I think, 2 years. It came out 2 E3s ago.
Yeah. They
kind of like threw it out there, and it's officially releasing April 26, 2019, and it's only available for PS4. So I'll have to dust off the PS4 just so I can play this game. But it's you're part of a biker gang, and I guess the end of the world happens, and then all of a sudden you have zombie hordes. And one of the cool features about this game I noticed is when watching some gameplay footage, they didn't just have like 5, 10, 20 zombies. No, it's like hundreds and hundreds of zombies will be coming at you.
Yeah.
And I guess my perspective is it's a mixture of Last of Us, Red Dead, and like the open world environment of Red Dead with the Last of Us, like trying to like sneak around and survive using traps and like crafting gear and making sure you have all this stuff while trying to survive and melding it all together. I guess I'll read the official information on it, but the game takes place 2 years after a global pandemic has killed almost everyone but transformed millions of others into what survivors called freakers. So not technically zombies, but they're mindless feral creatures, more animal than human, but very much alive, quickly evolving. And in the demo, we see 2 types of freaks: the newts, which are adolescents or youngers, kind of like a hunter, and they attack from different angles that other freakers, the more zombie kind of. But essentially, there's a different kinds of bad guys you're going to encounter. It's made of hundreds of individual freakers. Hordes eat, move, and attack together, almost as one. Some hordes roam the highways at night, while others, like the one in the demos we've seen, have found a food source that keeps it in a single location. Skills learned in the prior life kind of contribute to the main guy you play, who is Deacon, and it gives you an edge over this fight against the hordes. And like Last of Us and other zombie games that we've seen, it also introduces what do people do in this situation. So you're going to have those groups of people that are like crazy, I'm going to live in this area, you're not going to affect me, and I'm part of a tribe, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I guess the main perspective is, do we have too many zombie games? Is this like...
That's what I was going to say. Like, there's... I think we've kind of passed that zombie, like, moment where, like, everything was about zombies there for about 10 years, and we had The Walking Dead and, like, all these different zombie games. But I think this one actually might maybe not bring it back, but it will definitely stand out enough to be a good game regardless.
Yeah, I think, from my opinion, it's kind of like we went through a phase where everything was World War II, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, and then, like, every other type of game that was, like, trying to bounce off of it. World War II this, oh, now you're a paratrooper, now you're this, oh, now you attack on D-Day. It's like, okay, well, we've done World War II, we've had the movies, let's just calm down. And I feel like you said, we're in that phase where we're kind of coming out of zombie craze, because, I mean, Walking Dead's kind of reaching the end of its series. I mean, they just killed off the main guy. It's just, it seems like that this game will be really good, and kind of like Last of Us 2 that's coming out soon. It's not gonna, I feel like the zombies are gonna be there to, like, kind of like direct you. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's not the main thing that you're gonna need to focus on.
Yeah, it might not be a zombie game, it'll be a game with zombies in it.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
I kind of like to think of, like, maybe The Witcher 3, where it's not really a monster hunting game.
Right.
Because there's so much other stuff you do. You encounter, like, different people, different places, but you still do the monster stuff.
Right.
Did you have any thoughts, Trick?
No, I'm kind of, like Calamity said, I'm kind of zombied out, but I'm going to withhold any judgment on the game, and I'll probably let some people play it and give their own personal reviews before I invest in it and build an opinion of my own.
Yeah.
What about you, Will?
This is, I can't say I've seen the trailer or anything, so this is all kind of a new thing to me, but I think it could be interesting. Whenever I see a zombie game, I like to, or any kind of world-ending survival situation game, I always like to think of, or I like it when games focus on the interaction between people in that situation rather than, like, this situation itself, which I know they did a lot in the Walking Dead Telltale series. So maybe now is the time to do one that's just actually about killing zombies, but I think the recent curse word. What was the game with the guy with the baseball bat and the camera? This is a zombie killing game.
Oh, Dead Rising?
Dead Rising? Yeah.
Yeah. So on one hand, I kind of feel like it's time for a game that could just be about killing zombies and surviving without focusing on that survivor mentality. But then again, the recent Dead Rising game that came out like a year or two ago, I think, that one kind of flopped from what I saw.
Yeah.
So who knows?
And there's still, I mean, it's not on our list to talk about, but there's still games coming out that have zombies in it, like Dead Island 2, which is a big one that's been kind of like Kingdom Hearts. It's been pushed back. It was supposed to come out like 2 or 3 years ago when...
Dying Light.
Dying Light.
Thanks to the wifey.
Yeah. Yeah, that game was a lot of fun. It not only had the zombies in it, but it also included like a perspective of being essentially like a parkour specialist. Like, you just run around and jump everywhere. Yeah. And that was actually really cool. I hope more games include that. When that game came out, that was supposed to be... Dead Island 2 was supposed to come out around that time.
I think that actually was Dead Island 2, and then part of the studio split off, so they changed the name and then changed some of the mechanics.
Yeah.
And gave it a new name.
Personally, if they came out with a new Dying Light, I think I would rather play that than the Dead Island.
I think there is one coming out. I think they're working on a Dying Light 2 and a Dead Island 2, but Dead Island 2 has been canceled so many times that I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
The next one on our list is going to be Ori and the Will of the Wisps. So, in honor of his name, we are going to let Will take the stage.
Aw, yeah. So, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I am super hyped for this game. Sadly, I was unable to watch E3 when they first announced it, but the moment they did, I got a text saying, Will, you must watch this trailer right now. And ever since that moment, I've been hyped for it. I played Ori and the Blind Forest, which I think was the studio's first game that they ever made. And it was actually amazing. The art was incredible. Music was incredible. Story was great. Maybe not incredible because it was kind of simplistic, but it was just well written and well done, just the way they did everything. The one complaint that everyone's had about Ori and the Blind Forest is the combat is super simple. Basically, you run through Ori and the Blind Forest and you get this little blue light sprite thing that follows you around, and you mash the X button if you're playing on a controller. And that little thing will zap enemies that are nearby automatically. So the platforming, the puzzles, everything else in that Ori and the Blind Forest was great except for that combat. And with the trailers of Will of the Wisps, it looks like the developers listened and they have greatly fleshed out the combat system and made it more active, more responsive, more everything. Like, I've seen Ori using a sword made out of light in some of the trailers. Super hyped for it. I'm not sure if there's a release date for it yet, but it is planned to release this year.
Yeah, I think all I've heard is it's this year, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely hyped for it too. Yeah, and I haven't even played the first one yet.
I played it. I didn't finish it, but it was amazing. Like, I think platforming isn't really a thing as much anymore, but there are games like every year that do it really well, and Ori, the first one, was one of those games that just did it really, really well.
I am going to play devil's advocate and say that I think platforming is coming back, only because I've been playing a lot of platforming games lately.
I will say, after watching Grizz play some, I am interested in them, and I am going to start giving Ori a try, especially with the new one coming out. So it's kind of got me on that bandwagon to give it a second chance. But my initial thought is that platform gaming is kind of a dying breed with the more expansive RPGs out there.
Maybe it's just me as a PlayStation exclusive player.
Right? Well,
We're
I mean, there are
PlayStation
games.
snobs.
Yeah.
It's just the game world is kind of overshadowed with like Black Ops,
Yeah.
and
Fortnite,
PUBG. Like, those are the type of games that people are focusing on. Whereas there's still like a small knit community who's like, I love this game. I want to watch this game instead.
It's really just those quick, like, action-y games like that, like, we see a lot of, like, Will plays a lot of those on his stream, you play those, Rolo plays those, like, so people are still playing them on PC, but console gamers don't play those kind of games anymore, I don't think. They play the big adventure games. And
I think it depends on the console, because I could see that with like Xbox and PS4, a lot of people are more like, let's do the big game, like let's do a big game like Last of Us, where it's like a big, and we're in that game. Whereas like the Switch, I see a lot of people will play Moonlighter or like Hollow Knight. Like, those are big games for those kind of consoles.
I think the Switch is more like, when you think of an indie game, you think of games like that, and I think the Switch, even though it's obviously it's the biggest video game company in the world, I feel like it's very like indie centric console. Like, it has that indie feel to it.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of those indie games on it.
I think one of the reasons that there's so few indie games and stuff on PS4 and Xbox is the price tag on games for those consoles. Because I know at least a couple of my friends who are like diehard console fans. They're all about going to the GameStop and getting their physical copy and their steelbook and like looking at the disc and installing it from that. Right, and they're not so big on the download from the PlayStation Store kind of thing. Whereas on PC, I know we got Steam. You download everything, and you can buy something for $2. There's no physical cost to make that and distribute it through Steam. It's just data. So if you're gonna make a indie game on a console, you have to make sure it's big enough to be worth putting on a disc and worth that $60 price tag that 97% of console games have.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it kind of ties into my views on the Switch. I feel like the Switch has kind of done everything backwards. It was big at first with like the indie games or the downloadable content, and it's only now that they've started adding like major platform games. Like, I know they're adding Dragon's Dogma here soon and some other games like that, and they have Doom and Skyrim, but I feel like they do seem to lean more towards the downloadable content over going out and buying a physical copy. So they're only recently starting to really gain traction on the major platforms, but the Switch is definitely seems to be a breed of its own.
It's hard for me to talk about that because I'm a collector, so I have to have my physical copy. I have like 120 PS3 games and like 80 PS4 games all in their boxes. But I get that though. Like, I get why people would feel that way about their Steam library as opposed to like a shelf full of discs. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of the point of Gamers Among Us. We all have our own little
Yeah.
preferences. Some of us prefer the downloads. Some of us prefer physical
No,
copies.
you have
so
a
that
different
we can-
opinion. Get out.
But on that note, we have kind of deviated a little bit, and I guess it's about time for us to wrap it up. Anybody have any parting words of wisdom for our first official podcast?
Did we want to touch on some games coming out real quick that we're excited about? We don't have to like go through the list, but we can just talk about, you know, what we're excited for in the coming year.
I think we pretty much went over the majority of the ones I'm really interested in so far. I know a lot of games are getting re-released or moved over to different platforms. Like I said, Dragon's Dogma is coming out on the Switch, and I know not too long ago they moved Okami to the Switch, so I'm definitely more invested in that console than I ever was before, but...
I'm kind of excited about Anthem.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard
Forgot all
kind of
about that
stuff on and off again about that game, and I'm worried it's gonna be subject to the microtransactions. Sorry, that's kind of plagued every big AAA game that's come out here recently. Yeah, this game. Let's see, I'm looking it up right now.
It seems like it fits the mold for like the Destiny kind of.
Yeah, I kind of see it as
Treatment.
like a
For those who like Warframe and Destiny, like I feel like it's gonna fall along that kind of pattern.
yeah.
So right up your alley, Will.
Yeah. No, I'm a Warframe fanboy. I can never change.
I don't know. I have Destiny 2, and I think what was ruined for me was Warframe.
Yeah.
I started
Playing
on
Warframe
Warframe.
first definitely ruined Destiny 2 for me.
Because they're both like so similar in style, except Destiny is more first person. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you're more first person, then I would definitely go with Destiny. But if you're more third person, Warframe, and you like that
I don't
parkour.
know. I don't know. Like I'm more into first person as far as shooters go, but watching Will play Warframe, like it's kind of looking more and more like I'm gonna end up playing it.
Who doesn't want to be a space ninja with
Yeah.
a space mom?
With a space mom.
Right? Robot space ninjas.
One thing I'm excited about that we kind of touched on here and there is The Last of Us 2. So I know we don't have a concrete release date for this year, but I feel like it's been long enough since they announced it, and they haven't really given us any information, so it's probably going to come out either the end of this year or early next year. But I am super excited to hear more about that. I know Sony backed out of E3 though, which is unfortunate. So I don't
Yeah, that's kind of why. Kind of like,
yeah.
ugh, what's
So
going on?
I don't know if we're really going to get any information on that or Ghost of Tsushima, but hoping they do something eventually.
I feel like it'll probably be the first quarter of next year. That gives them enough time for
Yeah.
one more big reveal during their PlayStation, the Sony. Can't remember.
PlayStation Experience.
Yes, thank you. The PlayStation Experience. I feel they'll have another big one like they did this year, and then that'll be the, hey, here's the release date and everything you need to know, and that'll
Yeah.
give them a few more months to tie out all the loose ends and
Yeah.
have it launch probably February of next year.
Yeah, I think the main reason that they did that is because they're coming out with PS5.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing towards the end of this year is that they might not give us any concrete information, but they're definitely going to say, hey, things are coming, and
Yeah.
it's going to be the PS5. I mean,
Because last year they talked about the PS5, like AMD was talking about
Yeah.
developing the new graphics card or the new CPU or APU, which is the graphics card and the CPU put together. The specs were kind of like a Ryzen, I think it was like a higher Ryzen 3 or Ryzen 5.
yeah.
So it would be pretty decent to put that in a little console.
Yeah, but if you think of, like, if it comes out next year or 2021, then PCs are going to be,
Yeah,
a
they
couple
are
years
coming
ahead
out.
already.
Talking about tech news, there's rumors that they're coming out with a Ryzen 300 or 3000 series, which is going to be higher than the Ryzen 7. So I think that might be a Ryzen 9, which will be kind of cool.
I mean, let's just face it. PC has always been a couple years ahead of console, so that's no surprise.
I mean, that's fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to like focus on the PC master race kind of discussion, but it is true that if you really want good graphics and gameplay, then go for the PC.
Yeah. I mean, even as a PS4 exclusive player, like, I've always only played consoles. I get that gaming can be better on PCs, and I get the appeal of it. I just have my own personal reasons. Like, I don't like sitting at a desk to play my games. I like kind of leaning back on a bed or a couch or something. Just things like that. But, like, I get it. PCs are always going to be.
Essentially what he's saying down, he's like, he likes to lay down while playing video games.
Pretty much.
Feed me my grapes, sir.
I regret nothing.
This is my choice. But
I think that wraps everything up.
There are a lot of games out there, and there are a lot of games that we want to keep talking about. So if you want to keep listening in and get updates about new games that are coming out, next time is going to be a lot. It won't be. It'll probably be about the same length. We just won't have the introduction.
Yeah.
So they'll probably cut out a lot of time. We'll be able to talk more about video games. But we did want to get our first podcast out there. So, did you guys want to say anything before we send off?
I just want to say if you've listened this far, doubt there's very many of you, but thank you. We appreciate it, and we're gonna keep doing it. And we're open to suggestions, comments. If you have any hate mail, direct it to the Steel Grizzly. Please.
Sir.
So yeah, we have a Facebook group. We have a Discord. You're welcome to join. We're on Reddit, but we don't really post much there yet. We are on Twitter, at Gamers Among on Twitter. So there's lots of different ways to reach out to us, and we want as many people as we can get involved in talking to us. And
yeah, this is as much for you guys as it is for us. Yeah. So definitely don't feel shy about reaching out. This is all about breaking out of our comfort zone and getting us all the best gaming experience out there.
So we can get all those internet friends.
Yep.
Kind of like Reddit, get all the internet points.
Right. Fake internet points.
If we also post this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe because it will help the channel out. That way we can produce more content, maybe better podcast in the future. We'll see.
And if you're interested in watching us flounder along on Twitch, you can check out the Still Grizzly, Trick Enigma, or Will.
And maybe we can get more Will in here too. So we'll figure out where we're going to post this. More than likely YouTube.
Yeah, we'll figure out.
You want to make an official outro?
Say goodbye to the listeners.
Oh. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the first ever Gamers Among Us podcast, and we hope to see you next month.
Yep, that was so official.
There we go. That was professional.
Peace out.
There you go.